A warm welcome back to the Full View on SABC News. Now, in this half hour, many women lose out during and after a divorce. Tomorrow, the Women Integral Impact Network, or WIIN, will bring divorce and maintenance specialists to look at the issue at the castle in Kyalami in Johannesburg. To discuss, we're joined by the founder of WIIN, Francesca Fondse. She's also the official SA Women's Champion against domestic violence and femicide with the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. We're also joined by Gugulethu Keswa, who is the National Communication Liaison for WIIN Women. Welcome to you both. Let's start with you, Francesca. What are you hoping to achieve with tomorrow's event?
I think the most that one can aim to achieve with an event like that is to actually educate women about how they need to participate with their legal advisors in their own process when it comes to divorce and maintenance issues. There are a lot of regulations created to assist women to actually have a smoother process. Courts have certain time mandates. These things don't happen because attorneys don't inform women about the processes at hand, about the mandates that are applicable in courts, and also women are sometimes very devastated. You know, it's a very traumatizing experience to only get divorced, but when there are other issues involved as well, it is really devastating for most women, and our court system has never been friendly towards women, let's face it. We still inherited a very traumatic, patriarchal, post-apartheid judiciary.
So make this practical, maybe Gugulethu. What are women facing when they're going to court? You're talking about other challenges, kids involved, poverty involved sometimes.
Yes, I can definitely personally attest, going through a maintenance struggle myself over the past 5 years. We are faced with a court system that is failing us. We go to court date after date. We go in circles. Nothing is actually really done. People aren't held accountable. This is with regards to maintenance. And with divorce
So
now,
do you mean the judgments don't get handed down, the issue is delayed and delayed?
Yes, continuously delayed. And then even judgments that are handed down are not taken seriously. So as a woman, you feel like you just trapped and you just keep going back and there's no help.
Sure, so empowering women is great, but does it help if what you're saying is the problem is at the court system, and I guess you need those maintenance orders to be enforced as well?
Yes, we do. But let us just face it, there are a lot of people in the Department of Justice that are working very hard to change this. My colleagues at the department are really working hard. Where the breakdown comes is the system that is actually prescribed in the court itself. We need to move our court system along. We need to computerize it on a national level so that there's information readily available. Our court system is bodged with a lot of folders, things that get lost. We know also about, about it with publicized court cases where dockets and things get lost. The same in the court system. You go there and your folder might be lost. But having said that, I believe if I had the information in my personal experience that I have today with regards to the regulations within our acts, the Maintenance Act, the Family Violence Act, the Family Law, the various acts and the regulations thereof, I would have been able to assist the direction of my own case or cases far easier, and I would have been able to challenge attorneys and magistrates and people for not following the mandates that they are set to meet.
So it tells women what they are entitled to, basically.
It tells women what they are entitled to.
Can you give us some of that information?
Yes, for instance, if your divorce decree has lapses. In other words, if it just says each parent pays 50%. 50% of what? There needs to be definement. There needs to be actual indications of who is responsible for what to make up this 50-50. When your divorce decree is not sufficiently drawn by the attorneys at hand, and you end up in maintenance court, it actually sets you back, because now you restart negotiating maintenance where it could have been concluded in the divorce itself. There are so many fine points. I can speak to you for 3 days on what women should watch out when they enter a divorce, when they settle a divorce, and when they first arrive at maintenance court. When I arrived at maintenance court, I was asked by the maintenance officer to provide certain documents. It took me to Bloemfontein, because the specific document that...
Yeah, and you didn't know in advance to bring those documents.
Eventually, when I got to the specialist that I'm involving tomorrow, she said to me, but that is not your affair at all. This officer should have made a NISI order. In other words, the person that is the other party should bring the information. You shouldn't go and chase it.
Sure, this is very complex, and I appreciate that you're both willing to talk about a personal experience. Tell me more about yours. So was there that lack of clarity? How long did you spend time in the courts trying to get an order?
I've been in and out of the courts for 5 years. It's a highly publicized case.
Yeah. And this is just to get a maintenance order.
Honestly, we just go around in circles. So with the empowerment that you had asked me about...
Give me more examples. So what do the magistrates say, for example?
So a typical example is sitting in a very long queue. Then you finally get to see one person who has to attend to all of you. Then you'll get like a few questions and another date. Then at the other date, if the other party, as in the parent who's not... If he doesn't show up, then he gets another warning. So this process can go in circles. Then they ask you for documents. Then he doesn't bring the documents. Then they can't find him. And so all the different women who are sitting there are faced with this kind of trial as such. And then also implementing like the actual court orders. Like in my case, nothing has been done.
So that is 5 years where no maintenance will be paid at all?
No. And my case still stands. I'm going to go through the judicial system, what they want me to do, but I'm literally speaking up for a lot of women in our country who are going through the same thing as me. I mean, the numbers are crazy. Something really has to be done. And apart from just the court system, the empowering part is the self-actualization. The woman needs to stand up.
Yeah.
The woman needs to stand up and not fall into the stigma. Not fall into the I have to do it on my own, or no, what can I do? And this is why WIIN Women and organizations like this have such high impact, because we can go and tell the woman that you have rights. A lot of women don't even know they have rights. So if they can break the silence and we stand together, then only can we amend such laws and for
maybe
change
it
to
becomes a force.
happen.
I mean, you're talking about high numbers. How bad is it? Because it sounds like a lot of men then can get away with not paying maintenance by just delaying the court proceedings or not being there, etc.
Let me give you a good example. Personally, I've not seen maintenance for 3 years. So you have so many things where you go into the court systems and you see these women sitting there and sitting there and sitting there, and until you get there and you're one of those yourself, you don't understand what they're going through.
Yeah.
If you spend 7-8 days a year in court, what do you have left of your annual leave? Because you've got to take leave to be there. And so you know, women just keep on losing out, and children in the event as well, because there's constant compromise from the single parent woman. Just to give you an example, last year Department of Justice issued around 83,000 new orders. By the end of January, about 10 of them were already in default. Now, you must also remember that some of those that are still being honoured might not even be honoured in full.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, if you layer and layer year upon year, I would say 60–65% of women that are entitled to maintenance don't get it.
Yeah, it sounds like the man has to be willing to pay, otherwise it's very, very difficult. How often, say there's a default, do the cops or the authorities follow up on that as well?
Okay. There's new regulations coming soon. We are hoping to see that defaulters will possibly get blacklisted. that other
garnishing orders,
that other state agents and departments would be involved, like SARS, because a lot, and we see it with entrepreneurs, a lot of women say, but you know, he pays himself in cash. So, you know, so there's a lot that needs to be done. Ultimately, society needs to change. And with WIIN, we do not exclude men from our dialogues. Yeah. That's the first thing that I must tell you. We are not a feminist organization in the sense that we are totally to the exclusion of men. We include men in our dialogues. We welcome men, like, for instance, other male organizations that are working towards eradicating this kind of scourge, to join us and to work with us. And Gugulethu, if there are men out there watching, or people not involved in a maintenance issue, thinking, what's the fuss all about? I mean, I know the stats that often after a divorce, men actually, their wealth increases, they get better off, and women just get worse off. Try and describe the position that many women land up in.
Almost a position of helplessness. Desperation, where a lot of women don't even go and apply to go to court because they just feel like nothing's ever going to happen. So they just have to do it and, you know, stand on their own and take care of these children. And it has far-reaching consequences. I mean, now we have a single home. We have children now who don't have father figures. So I think it's definitely a social pandemic. And I joined WIIN as an organization to be able to fight as an activist with other people for things that, even if they might not change today for me, but one day for my future daughter or your future daughter or son, that boy child who's growing up in this world and watching with no father, what happens to him? So I just wanted to come out here with WIIN and get this message out there for women to stand up as well for their rights and break the silence and the stigma. And
often these women are poor. I don't know if they can make it the castle event tomorrow, but do you go to the courts? It sounded like you do, or you go and help women in their circumstances?
Yes, definitely. And that's why we want people to become a member of WIIN, the organization, because with that type of contribution, we'll be able to do social outreach so much more. Be able to get out there so much more. Yes, we go to the courts, but we want to reach every woman. It's not the elite. And that's the thing about these maintenance issues. It's for people from all walks of life. It's not about social or class. We're all going through the same thing.
All right, and that event, very quickly, we're running out of time.
Okay, the event is tomorrow at the castle in Kyalami. It is a paid event, but it is very, very low amount, given what it would cost you if you venture into a divorce that is a disaster. And also I would like to urge the women to go onto our website at www.WIIN, it's W-I-I-N, women.com, and join us. It's free. To join us is free. To sign the maintenance petition so that we can force the minister and DOJ to relook at the court systems. And I urge every woman who is entering a divorce, in the middle of a messy divorce, who is struggling for maintenance, if she can, to show up at the castle tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much for that preview. And sure, a big issue and worrying that very little is being done. That was the founder of the Integral Impact Network, or WIIN, Francesca Fondse, and spokesperson Gugulethu Keswa.